Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Blues feed again. Today, I am, as always, joined by Mr. Danny Windsor. Danny, how's things, mate?
Yeah, good. I'm good. I'm still a bit baffled by the whole Simmons situation, but I'm sure we'll have a brief chat about that.
Yeah, exactly. And in this new episode, with our usual obsession of Chelsea Football Club, we are going to be dissecting the Champions League draw that was announced yesterday evening in the UK. Before we get into that, we just want to remind everyone of the 1K subscriber giveaway. We're approaching 400 followers now, so we're 40% of the way there. And as always, just a like, comment, and subscribe will enter you into the giveaway for when we hit 1,000. So, Danny, before we get into the Champions League draw, let's have a quick minute or so ranting, chatting, and whichever other way you want to describe it on Xavi Simmons.
Yeah, I just don't think it makes much sense, and the optics aren't good from an outside perspective of just making a player wait and then seemingly not going for him because it's not like we got hijacked by Spurs and we wanted him still. We just never followed up on. We had a deal agreed, and then when they slightly changed the goalpost, we never really formally went back to the table and went for him and just kind of let him go to Spurs. So, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not that annoyed about the player because I did have slight reservations of him physically adapting, but I've also really liked the player. But I'm not as annoyed as I thought I would because of that. But yeah, it just doesn't seem to make sense from an optics perspective. And does it have a detriment to deals that we want to do in the future when we're promising a player that we're coming for them, but we just need to sell somebody and then not going for them?
Yeah, and I do know what you mean. For me, it feels a little bit now, in hindsight, that, or especially in this last few days, we're using it as a little bit of a smokescreen. I don't understand why we've dragged it on so long, or for the player made him. Well, we didn't make him because obviously he wanted us, but he's decided to turn down offers from Bayern Munich, etc., to come to us. So we must have given him some sort of intel that we were going to come back for him. Clearly, they've decided against it. I know from what we've heard, it seems like Maresca wasn't fully sold on the player, and there's sort of other targets in that area of the pitch that he would prefer. I don't know. I said it to you yesterday when we were having a chat that I still think there's a surprise round the corner. Whether it's a good or a bad one, I don't know. We'll soon see. But anyway, we've the main point of this episode is to talk about our return to the Champions League and the teams that we are going to have to come up against. So we I will quickly read it out and then we will dissect it. So the draws are from pot one, we've got Barcelona at home and Bayern Munich away. From pot two, Benfica at home, Atalanta away. From pot three, Ajax at home and Napoli away. And then from pot four, we've got Paphos at home and Karabag away. I know that's not how you say it, but I think it sounds better. The first thing that jumps out to me, Danny, is, well, there's two things. A, there seems like a lot of reunions there. Obviously, we've got ex players at a lot of these clubs. You think you've got the likes of Christensen at Barcelona, potentially a Fermin Lopez return to Barcelona if we get that deal done. You've got ex players at Bayern Munich or potentially Nicholas Jackson. Then you've got Enzo Fernandez returning to play against Benfica. Ajax, Jarell Hato. Napoli have got loads of our ex players, and then obviously David Luiz plays for Paphos at the minute. So in terms of that, it's quite a nice draw, but it strikes me as a little bit difficult. And the other thing that I noticed, which I think has been spread about a little bit on Twitter, that's the run to our 2012 Champions League final, pretty much. We played Napoli, we played Benfica, we played Barcelona, we played Bayern to win it. So it's strange how that's worked out. What's your first thoughts when you look at the fixtures as they are?
I think, yeah, like you say, some really cool fixtures in there, some really good fixtures, some previous, shall we say, obviously the 2012 with Bayern Munich, the Barcelona kind of disgrace from Drogba kind of fixtures. Benfica's always, we always seem to have some mad games against Benfica. Atalanta's quite a cool little stadium to go to. Ajax is just a historical giant of Europe. Napoli, again, we always seem to have some crazy games with Napoli, be knockouts or group stages. And then Paphos is just quite a cool little country in Cyprus, and we seem to play carrier bag quite often. Doesn't matter what competition we're in. So yeah, quite cool little fixtures. I think arguably slightly tougher than other people's draws, but I also back us. I know we'll do a little bit of a prediction and all the fixtures, but I back us to get to the amount of points that we need to at least progress. Obviously, with previous last year, you needed 11 points to get into like the knockout kind of round to go into the final knockout stages. I think they call it the playoff round. So you need 11 points to do that. Which I mean, if we don't get 11 points here, we'd probably just fold the club, to be honest with you. And then you need 16 last year to get through automatically into the next stage, which I think is what we need to be trying to target. Less fixture congestion and everything like that, and probably, well, depending on how the draw goes, a slightly easier fixture in the next. But yeah, quite cool. I still back us to go through in those fixtures, even though some of them are quite tough.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be nice. I know we've said it a few times now, but I just love the format. I think the format's really cool. I don't like how few and far between the games are to start with. I think they're like 3 weeks apart, which I'm not a massive fan of. But I just love Champions League football. That's why. But overall, I think you're right. I think there's a definite route to progressing, if not automatically, definitely via the knockout phase. Like I say, you'd imagine you're going to get 6 points out of the bottom two of Paphos and Karabag. Then you've got to find 5 points from the other six fixtures, which should be doable. We should be beating Ajax at home. We should be beating Benfica at home, realistically. So if you look at that, there's already 12 points there. So
Yeah.
that's without any other potential points against the likes of Barca, Bayern, Atalanta, or Napoli, which Italian sides away from home, I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. I think they're difficult places to go.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I mean, if we should smash Karabag, we should smash Paphos, we should beat Ajax at home. So there's 9. We should beat Benfica. There's 12. And then if you got to get to the 16, you kind of don't lose to Napoli, don't lose to Atalanta, don't lose to Bayern Munich, and don't lose to Barcelona. Obviously, there will be a loss in there because it would be pretty much impossible to not lose to some of those sides. But all of a sudden, you beat a Barcelona or what have you. I'd back us to, like I say, beat Karabag, beat Pathos, beat Ajax, beat Benfica, and then beat one of Atalanta and Napoli, which would put us on 15. And then in the remaining 3, we only need kind of 1 point to get through to the automatic qualification. Based off last year, obviously it could change, but that's kind of how I'm breaking it down in my head.
Yeah.
How we get to
To
those
to
points.
be honest, I'll be happy just getting to the knockout phase via the playoffs. To be honest, I'm not obviously
Yeah, it just
automatics would be
depends on that.
ideal.
It just depends on that draw, because as we saw last year, you had like Real Madrid versus City in the in the
Yeah.
playoff
th-
phase, so you could get screwed over a bit.
Then also you look at that, and Liverpool finished top and ended up with PSG in their first game in the knockouts. Like
Yeah,
it's luck of the draw, really, and you have to get lucky in cup football, and it's generally something that we're pretty good at, to be honest. So yeah, overall, I think it's a nice draw. I just love the feeling of the Champions League being back. Um, if you had to pick any of those games to go to, you could go to any of the games. Yeah, you got one ticket. You can go to any game you want to go to. Which one you picking?
oh, that's a tough one, because like for the actual fixture itself, I'd go Barcelona, because I just have so much like hatred for Barcelona, if I'm completely honest, after being at so many of the knockout phases when I was younger, and the Ronaldinho goal and the disgrace fixture, etc. But then also I quite like I've never really been away abroad, so I'll probably go for my ticket for Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Look at the stadium for 2012, like go to the stadium where 2012. But yeah, if I could have one home and one away, it'd be Barcelona and Bayern Munich. I think that's pretty standard. But yeah, probably Bayern Munich.
Have we been back there since 2012?
Don't
Oh
believe
no,
so.
we have. No, we have. It was remember the
Oh, it
COVID
was a
one?
COVID year.
It
Yeah,
was
when
the
no one was
COVID
there.
year when
Yeah, yeah.
because the two legs were separated by about 3.5, 4 months because
Yes.
we got peppered at home and then obviously Boris shut us down. Um,
Yeah, we played in like February and then
yeah,
August, I think it was.
didn't
I think we
am I right in saying
lost 3-0 at home in February and then played the second leg in August.
yeah? Did Hudson Odoi score? I want to say Hudson Odoi scored.
Um, I had it as Abraham in my head, but
Or it might have been Abraham. I'm sure it was like an academy graduate that scored.
yeah, I want to say we were like, yeah, we were losing and then Tammy Abraham scored or something like that.
Yeah, we lost 4-0. 4-1, sorry. Tammy
Fair.
Abraham scored, you're right.
It was Tammy, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the last time we went to. So we've only been there once since we had our famous night in Munich.
And never with any fans.
Right, so I will give you. I'll give you a point for every. I'm assuming you haven't got it on your screen or haven't looked at it. I'll give you a point for every name you can get if you can guess our starting 11 from that game in 2020.
Well, the second leg in
The away
August.
leg against Bayern Munich.
I would have said something like Kepa,
Nope.
James.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you
would
got,
that have been like Christensen,
yeah.
Rudiger,
Nope.
Chilwell,
Nope.
Hudson-Odoi,
Yeah.
Kante? It would have been the Kante Kovacic year.
Yeah.
Mount, Abraham, and then would that have been Pulisic maybe?
You got 7. You got 7.
Okay.
So the lineup was Caballero,
Mm.
James Christensen, Zuma, Emerson, Kante, Kovacic, Barkley, Mount,
Hot
Abraham,
Barkley.
Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah, fair.
Some of the names on the bench that night as well: Jamie Cumming, Ian Matson, Tamori, Broya, Batshuayi, Lewis Bate.
No, that's crazy. That'd
Mad.
have been Alonso would have been there as well.
Yeah, he
Wasn't
wasn't
it
in the
Alonso?
squad. He must have been injured. He was definitely
What
there that
didn't
season.
didn't Alonso get sent off in the home leg?
Let me check. Let me fact check that.
I want to say he got sent off and we lost 3-0.
I feel like you might be right. Yeah, you were right.
But we would have had Willian and Pedro. Where were they?
No idea. In that game, the lineup's even more different. Caballero, back three of Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Christensen, Alonso and James wing backs, Jorginho, Barkley, Kovacic, the famous Sarri midfield,
Mm,
um, and James and Giroud and Mount as your front two.
fair.
Madness. Willian was on the bench that night. So was Pedro. So was Billy Gilmore. Mad. Anyway, we've divulged a little bit there. Yeah, so back in the Champions League, I'm looking forward to seeing who our first game will be because I don't think it goes in that order, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It gets regenerated. So I'm looking forward to seeing who our first and where our first game is. And
And
yeah, I
also
just
like
can't wait.
how it marries up with Premier League fixtures. Like
Yeah,
if we play City on the Saturday and then we play Bayern Munich away on the Wednesday or something like that.
I know I had a quick look last night, and if we play, so I might. I think I'm right in saying that they split it over 2 weeks, the Champions League fixtures. So one midweek there'll be fixtures, and the next
Yeah,
midweek there'll be a different round of fixtures, but not the same teams included. So you've always got 3 weeks between your games. So if we play in it the first week, we've got Man United away on the Saturday. If we play in it the second week, we've got Brighton at home on the Saturday. That's for the first fixture.
fair.
So it could be worse.
Could be worse.
So right, we'll just go Man United away, Garnacho, bag a hat trick, and see you later.
Yeah, fair.
All right, so that was our quick summary on the Champions League draw. Can't wait to do our previews and reviews of the Champions League fixtures in weeks to come. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will catch you again later today with a transfer episode with a special guest. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.